Hello, and good afternoon. It is Sunday, November 24th. We are hanging out, Pardon Will Live, coming in the Sunday before Thanksgiving. So we got some Thanksgiving topics we're going to chit-chat about, but mostly, as the title suggests, MAGA is down bad. Now, over the past 2 weeks, it's been more of a death spiral than just being down. So I definitely want to get into that, but the problem is there's so many little pieces to this death spiral that I picked out just a few. And we're going to chit chat about that. Before we get started, go in, like and subscribe, you jabronis. You know the routine. Go and share this with your friends. Share this with your family. Be like, hey, you know what's boring about Sunday nights? Nothing fun to watch. Well, I solved that with this great, fantastic show. Me and my co-host, Alex Rainiel. Alex, how are you doing this evening, dude?
Never a dull Sunday. All y'all people out there, make sure you got something to watch. You got us.
Yeah, exactly. I'm doing great, man. And just a little inside baseball. My weeks have been all screwed up. We were going to do this every 2 weeks. And last weekend, I texted Alex. I was like, we're going live. He's like, what are you doing? I was like, God, I don't know where I am. I don't know where I am anymore. And so I got the weeks mixed up. But we're back. And we're going to be doing this every other week through the holidays. And then come January 1st, we're going to hit the ground running with all kinds of cool stuff we got planned. So that'll be fun.
Then y'all got us every night, every weekend.
Yeah, and it'll be heel pedal to the metal. Plus, because the midterms are coming up, so I'm sure this is never gonna not be interesting. This is gonna be a wild year. And we're gonna talk a little bit about why I think this is gonna be a wild year. Again, everything we have to talk about tonight has to do with that. But let's go and get started with this Thanksgiving pertinent topic. I don't know. You told me about this, so I had to do some research on it. But up in old Canada, they had I guess an avian flu outbreak. And from what this article shows, right? What I got a giant ad at the top that's messing everything up. I can't get rid of that ad. I don't even know. It's just blank. There's nothing for me to click. If I click on it, it's going to send me to some kind of CCP website. So I don't want to deal with that. Anyway.
By the way, for all the folks at home who's not familiar with the CBC, it's basically state propaganda through MSNBC for Canada.
Yeah. I mean, I know all of our stuff is state propaganda too, but this is like overt state propaganda. It's like, overt. Yeah, they're not even attempting to hide it. They're like, no, this is the information you get, which is why this article is very, very whitewashed. But the title of it says "Deep Burial for Ostriches at BC Landfill as CFIA completes a cull and disposal of work." Now, basically what happened is there was a reported avian flu outbreak at this ostrich farm that has well over 300 ostriches up in British Columbia in Canada. And they were like, hey, we're going to come kill all your ostriches. And the farm was fighting this for 10 months and the courts they were like, no, we're not even going to get an appeal. So all the juicy information about this story is not in this article. This article is basically like, yeah, the government came out and did what they were supposed to do, killed all of the ostriches, and the family may have been a little upset about it, but we're not going to talk about that. And then just went on like they definitely used disinfectant and followed all the protocols. Alex, what's the deal with the government just wanting to kill everybody's pets? Like, why? What is the deal?
I think Canada is just ethnomasochistic, but they really have a deep perversion for murdering people's pets. I remember, I don't know if it was in Canada, but I think there was another family that was the on the losing end of taking their pet squirrel away. I
Oh
think it
no,
was
that was in New
Canada.
York. No.
It
Yeah,
was New York. That was upstate New York, right?
I did a whole segment on that. That was when Trump was running, and I was like, "This damn squirrel is gonna get Trump the election," because it was dude, it
Yeah.
wasn't just a squirrel, it was like a fairy tale setting. This guy had a pet squirrel and like a pet raccoon, and they came like raised
Yes.
as from babies. He was a rescue, and he like raised
Yep.
them. They're like, no, you can't be having too much fun over there with your freedoms. And they just came and took them and then killed them in a shelter. It's like, why? What's the deal?
Yeah.
But you're right. I think Canada loves to just do mass graves. This is just another mass grave on top of multiple mass graves that Canada has
Yeah.
buried beneath churches and
It's
whatnot. So
right. Whether it's the MAID program or it's finding you 20 grand for going into the woods to hike. They love depopulation.
dude,
They're the kings of depop.
I totally forgot the MAID program. I totally forgot they love killing their citizens and their pets, citizens and their pets.
Like 10,000 annually. It's crazy.
Yeah, at least here we have the ATF just to come shoot your dog. But there, they're like, no, we'll kill your entire farm, and then hopefully you'll get culled.
Well,
I
you'll
wouldn't be
go in.
surprised.
You'll go in for like a broken arm or something. Like, hey, have you tried killing yourself?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like,
You know
or
what?
have you? I know you're facing eviction. You need like a month's rent. But how about just like taking this cyanide pill?
Yeah.
Like, right?
You know what's free?
Well, let's
The
do it.
afterlife. You don't have to pay rent in the
Yeah.
afterlife. You know what?
You know what? You know what'll make you some money? Organ harvesting while you're
Exactly.
dead.
Exactly. That's it. You broke your arm. We have the best pain meds around with the euthanasia. It gets rid of all of your pain and all your disappointments and your regrets and your
Jesus
hopeless future, and your sorrow for all of your ostriches being culled all at once. So in the article, I scrolled down in the article, way down at the bottom, it does talk about how the family was. Oh, I went too far. Was pretty upset, because they killed all the ostriches. They brought in marksmen. Where
Mhm.
is this section?
It was a mass murder.
Yeah, and they were like, it was hours of just gunshots going off.
Oh yeah, and they just had to sit idly by and
and just-
pretending it wasn't happening,
yeah.
crying their eyes.
And just listening. And I thought there was there's a video we could. This is part of that video with them. This is as close as they got in this article to show any compassion for people. But you know, avian flu. I don't know if you know this. Avian flu is just as bad as COVID. So it was
I
probably
thought it was COVID.
basically, yeah. It's basically the same thing. Canada friggin' hates COVID. They hate it.
Just take some horse dewormer.
Well, this is right. They could have they probably. I think I didn't do any research into avian flu, but I think we're at the point where they're like, we don't have to kill them, but what's the fun in letting them live? So,
Well, the irony too is that the government. I know that when it's psyop season, they always kind of put it in their back pocket, their second holster, in case these plebes get out of hand. Let's just scare the shit out of them again with another threat of an avian flu. They tried it with monkeypox, didn't work because they're just like, it's a bunch of people butt fucking.
yeah,
But
that
if
came
they
out
have-
quick.
But if it's a little more transmissible with the bird flu, if it can go from like mammal to human, or chickens to people and vice versa, then it's a little more threatening. It's more threatening to the food supply. People are a little more destabilized. But the reality is, like, these birds were in the family for like 20 plus years. They were literally their family members. So it goes beyond just like utilizing them for the utility of like livestock and stuff. It's more like these were real family members to them, and I'm very sympathetic to that. But it just all boils down to the evils of the state, depopulation, bureaucratic bullshit, looking well beyond pragmatism. And the reality is they tested these birds with the PCR tests. Now, for normies out there who don't understand the success rate of PCR, it has like sub 20% accuracy rate, and we learned that during COVID because people were getting misdiagnosed on a regular basis, and it came out in revelation with testimony afterward. So it has like well over a 70% failure rate or a misdiagnosis rate. So they were just offing these birds that didn't even have bird flu to begin with.
Yeah. Oh, and their eggs too, by the way. They didn't test
Oh,
them.
good.
They're
Yeah.
just like, yeah, we'll make sure the eggs and then any other materials. And the funny thing is, it's not like it's just their pets, which is hard enough. But I'm pretty sure that's their whole livelihood. Like they just were like, "Hey, how do you
Farmer.
feel about not getting paid for the next 6 months?"
Right.
And then you just have to hope we don't call the next one that you have. And so and stuff like this always makes me wonder, like, what did the farmer start a YouTube channel and they like were showing their ostriches and just so happened to have like a Trump sign in the back and they're like, no, they were calling all these guys. They're getting a little too radical over there. So I don't know. I couldn't imagine. But to be honest, dude, the Trump sign thing doesn't fly anymore because if you fly a Trump sign, you're just like a normal neocon boomer now. There's nothing fun. There's nothing fun about being a Trump supporter anymore. All the fun is gone out of the room.
It's gone in a year's time. Isn't that crazy?
Dude, wild. And so that's the theme of tonight is MAGA is down bad. And it is absurd. I'm gonna say this probably multiple times. It's wild how badly they screwed this entire year up. Like wild how badly this has gone. Almost as if no one cares. And I think that's kind of the ongoing theme is I don't think anybody cares. Well, we have a video clip.
Well, people.
What you got? Yeah. Tell me.
Well, I was just going to appendage that by saying people do care. They're pissed, but they're over the fact that they're trying to save people for the sake of public persuasion.
Yeah.
Like the government's done.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like government just, they're like, well, everybody knows and we don't care. We know, you know, we know that you know that we know, and we just don't care. We don't care anymore. I did like, so this is the separating the wheat from the chaff. And so we're going to go through a bunch of clips and just some conversations about some of the mishaps that happened this week. This week alone, dude, we had clips upon clips of topics upon topics of just people, Trump and the people in the administration just pulling L's left and right. And I'm not saying L's like our version of L's, because a lot of times for me, like if you don't go hard enough or you say something dumb, that may be a Republican fanboy thing, but not for me. We're a little bit more liberty minded. So anything that's government involved, we're like, oh, that's an L. But these are legit Republicans, like MAGA supporters, hardcore red hat wearing people out there, super pissed. And one of them is our boy Matty Walsh over at the Daily Wire. This
Daily
what'd you call it?
The Daily Jewish Wire.
Oh my god, yeah. This let me get there. This is our buddy Matt Walsh, and he's got something. So he posted this from the Matt Walsh show a few days ago. And it says America first and America only. Now, before we go into this clip, I do need to give a context for those who aren't on Twitter and don't have the brain rot. This Matt Walsh, out of all the contributors to the Daily Wire, is the only one who has said multiple times that we should stop funding Israel, stop funding Ukraine, stop participating in foreign wars. If they don't have anything to do with us, we should end. This is also the same guy who made Am I a Racist and What is a Woman documentaries. He's had a finger on the pulse more than I would say anybody at the Daily Wire, Jordan Peterson included. I mean, I think he stumbled in on his thing. Side note, Jordan Peterson, I think, is like, all these young kids need to make their beds. And it just caught like fire. And then he was like, all these anonymous trolls online are making me want to take drugs again. And you're like, stop. Yeah, but Matt Walsh, man, he's
gonna work on that Kermit.
I know, right? That's my Kermit impression. Matt Walsh has been notoriously coming out and saying things that people are like, can he say that at the Daily Wire? And it's every one of his tweets where it says something like, we should stop funding this. And like this one where it says America only, all the comments are like, bro, you're fired. Like, you're so fired. Like, how do you still have a job? Dumb. Which I think is emblematic to how the Republican Party feels, that and just the right wing. I can't even say Republican Party now, because the people who voted for Trump were libertarians. I know anarchists who did.
It was a big
independents, Democrats. Yeah.
Disaffected liberals. Yeah. And
yeah, super giant. So let's and I like Matt Walsh, and he sums up I think a lot of what I would say at least 50% of the right wing is feeling at this moment in time. This will kick us off for this series of topics. So check this out.
What we want is for someone to unashamedly and single-mindedly advocate for Americans and Americans only. We want someone to say, the only thing I care about is helping Americans. The only people I care about in the world are Americans. And we don't want to just hear that, but we want to see the action taken as well. You know, I've seen some people on social media say, hey, it's America first, but not America only. I disagree. I think it is America only. It's like I said months ago, I consider myself an American chauvinist. America first, America only, I'm an American chauvinist. I don't care about it. This is the only thing I care about. America should be the only thing you care about, especially as a leader of the country.
All right, so I wanted to start this off because I think that was well spoken, and I think the context is pretty self-explanatory because the ongoing conversation is who's our government serving. With all of the things that Trump promised at the beginning, we thought, honestly, I wasn't sure what we were going to get, so I was kind of happy right off the bat with whatever we did get. But now everything's starting to fall apart because out of all the topics, it seems like America first is such, it shouldn't be anything controversial, but this post blew up the internet. What's your thoughts on this, man? This seems this is like a new thing forming. Like, I guess America First Party, but this is totally something new, and it's weird.
Well, specific to Matt, without the trend of the rest of the outside periphery of this clip we ran, I think it's him sounding the white flag without raising the white flag, and he doesn't care if he gets canned by Ben at this point because he's really held back during the Gazan bombings and speaking up for, you know, I mean, he's really like bit his tongue about like all the Christian churches in Western Europe getting bombed, and particularly in that region too, you know, like in Lebanon and near Syria as well. So I think it's his way of quitting without quitting. I think he's putting low-hanging fruit for them to can him. But the reason that it resonates with people is because it's so out of his nature, out of the ordinary. And we've already talked on this show that, you know, undercurrent theme moving forward is that transparency and honesty is the currency moving forward. So 100%. when it's put out there, laid bare, it's people are going to respond to it no matter what your partisanship
Dude,
is.
100%. I think you're spot on with that. Transparency is the new currency moving forward. I think you're going to have to run with that if you want to go anywhere from now on. And I think that's I don't think Matt. So here's one of the things I will back up. He didn't say a lot about the Christians in Gaza and Palestine. He didn't actually, on his show, he doesn't bring up foreign stuff that often, except for when he's like, why are we doing this? What's the point? He's very simplistic in his geopolitical atmosphere and spectrum. But I think I like that about Matt. And I think we're getting to a point where people just don't care anymore. It's like geopolitical fatigue. Like no one cares anymore. And so even if he's like, well, he didn't speak up about the churches in Syria, he's pretty much just said it in the video why. He's like, I only care about America at this point in time. I can't shift my focus on, I care about this group here or this group there, which I mean, I could just discuss Christian. I'd be like, well, no, I kind of do care about Christians over there. But in the same light as I do care about other people too. So I don't, it's a weird fine line. It's a weird fine line for anyone to draw, but he doesn't have to because he stays true to his core nature, which he's really only does care about American culture, American society, and America in general. And so I give it to him for hanging on to that. I think here's where I think, and this might be a little bit rude. I don't think he's going to get fired. And the reason I don't think he's going to get fired is because I'm pretty sure he's the only one with ratings that still succeed.
Michael Knowles does pretty well.
He does do well too. Okay.
Yeah. But he's a product of them. Walsh came in as a hired talent that they brought
really? Okay. Well, see, I never found Knowles that insightful. He always felt like a yuppie to me, and yuppies don't resonate. And I'm not Catholic.
Why? Because he smokes cigars and wears a cardigan?
No, I smoke a pipe and I'd wear a cardigan if I had one. But no, it's the way he his references, man. I can tell you a lot about a person. Like I read a person's character by their sense of humor and their pop culture references. And his references are always like Les Mis and weird operas and stuff like that. It's just like, what the hell? No, this is you're a little too uppity for me. You came from, it's just you reek of mahogany and just some weird classes stuff. I don't resonate with
Cologne's like pre-industrial revolution.
Yeah, like stuff. Yeah, he just doesn't. He gives off that vibe. Matt Walsh wears a flannel, has a beard, is always talking about just normal everyday American stuff. That's why I think his out of all their contributors, I think he does the best. I can't prove it, but I'm going to assume he does the best. And because I think moving forward, I think Michael Knowles is pretty good at communicating something that seems authentic. But I think Matt Walsh is the best one at it. But either way, I just want to open that one up because speaking of transparency, dude, I haven't paid attention to this Epstein thing, even though it has been dominating the news. Can you tell me about what you know about this whole Epstein file release? The Congress passed it over to the Senate. Where are we at on with that?
I'm certainly not the expert on this story, but since the shutdown has expired, I think, to my understanding, when Mike Johnson went up on the podium and explained kind of why they had brought it back to Pam Bondi's desk for revisitation was because it was I think it was the categorization of the intel had been tampered with or had been diminished by the Department of Justice, by Kash Patel and Pam Bondi. So I think it had to go back, taken off the floor after they'd taken the vote, and it was like unanimous, like 534 to 1 or 430.
Guy.
Yeah. And of course it's like it was a Higgins, right?
Yeah, there's some more about Higgins that I found out about that I was like, oh no. Apparently, and this is going to be a revolving concept, and I apologize for anybody watching, but there is a clip out there where a reporter was asking him how he feels about foreign countries, and he mentions how he supports Israel, and they're like, well, if you had to pick Israel or America, which one would you support more? And he kind of locked up and glitched. And so people were like, oh man. And so a lot of people are saying, well, now we know why he voted no, because it seems like he's an Israeli asset. And so that's another, again, it seems like either all of this is just a weird propaganda for to usher in just a new world of Jew hatred, or these people are just getting paid. I can't, which one seems a little bit more plausible than the other, but I'm not going to rule out any of them. Anyway, he voted no.
Yeah, and I'm not even hung up on the one vote no, because I remember during the Iraq War, the decision to be invaded, I think there was one holdout as well on that vote, and that ended up being historically the right answer. And everybody, yelled at her obscenities and anti-American and this and sympathizing with terrorists. So I don't necessarily disagree. I always want to look at like the outro to the voting and why people vote the way they do, because there's always exterior motives as to why, not just the how you voted. This one seems pretty unanimous and obvious, but I'm just more interested in the alignments and this downtime in this period during the holidays, because especially you see this with the continuing resolutions and the things that they leave on staffers' desks to be voted on. They like to drag things out of importance through the holidays, and they like to put it in, very difficult times, like on a Friday afternoon, right around Christmas time. So I expect them to drag this out until 2026. I expect them to run another false flag or run some kind of, dangling low-hanging fruit, look over here type of Houdini trick. So I think it's going to be more of that. But again, this hamster wheel time's running out. So they can only keep doing this cyclical distraction bait and switch for so long. And I think it tells you everything you need to know, which we'll talk about in the latter segment, about MTG stepping away and what that actually means for her for 28. So we'll talk about that more later.
I think with this Epstein thing, and it's kind of tragic because this seems like it was if Trump is, it seems like it was just it was a blatant fumble on purpose right off the bat from Bondi. Like if you rewind the tapes all the way back to the binders and then all the stuff that happened after that, it was just like, how are you? Like I was watching a podcast that brought up all the clips where she was like, I've got all the Epstein files on my desk, and I tell you what, Jesse, these are awful. There's thousands of victims. And he's like, well, are we going to see anything from this? And she's like, in the coming days, you're going to get some news from Epstein. And then we went through the Democratic Party playbook where it's like, it didn't happen. It does happen. I have all of it, but it's a hoax, and half of it's real. But you're only a loser if you call it out. And everyone who wants the Epstein files is fake. And then we should definitely release the Epstein files because it's good. And it's just gaslighting beyond gaslighting.
Oh yeah.
And my problem is, like you said, like they need to roll it out soon. I think the ship has sailed. If they were to roll this out now, number one, no one's going to believe this is legit. They've held it for so long. The Democrats, all this thing is pointing to now is right or left, Republican or Democrat. You can't trust any of these people.
No.
They just can't. There's no one not trustworthy. Like there's just nothing about Cash Patel's gone. Dan Bongino, where the hell has he been?
He's recused himself because he's embarrassed because he knows that he's a fraud.
Right.
He's being put out there as a prop to be made a fraud, and it's killing him that he can't go back to his cushy job being a podcaster with no recursion. You know.
Yeah. I don't. He's not. Again, it's like all of this feels like a humiliation for these people and for America. And that's what I'm saying. Even if they're like, I'm sorry, here's all the excuses of why we didn't do our job. Everyone who works, every American, like a real American, works a job. And if you would have done this at your job, just been like, yeah, maybe not, you would have been fired months ago. And so no one's going to buy this. You're not allowed to just do what you're doing now. I don't care if you have legit excuses. Everyone's worked a job to where, like, even if I call my bluff this many times, if I actually do get a flat tire on my way to work, no one's going to believe me because I've called in sick and they caught me at Six Flags so many times before. You know, like my pants were down all the time. Now something actually does happen, like a real investigation was to open up. Doesn't matter. No one believes any of it. And so
and for Mike Johnson, like it's politically convenient for him to come out months after the shutdown, after the demand and calls for the House floor, Senate, the floor vote, to now put it out there for a unanimous consent vote, which is what they were calling it, because it's essentially unanimous. It's yay or nay, but there's no names attached to it. So, with that being said, there's no recourse for people who vote that way that normally wouldn't, because they had to have their name attached to it. Now, that being said, fast forward to, after the midterms and people are going to, their seats are going to be up. You can't defend yourself going back to your constituents, basically aligning yourself and defending pedophiles. So this is a long-term play by Massie, which we'll talk about as well, that he's basically telling people that, like, you need to have foresight and not understand that Trump's not going to be here to put a Band-Aid on your blemishes and your dirty laundry for much longer.
I don't think he can. To be honest, I don't think he can do his own either. Nope. I think all of that's out. I think the Trump endorsements, and like he came out, and we're going to talk about this, where he disavowed MTG. He's like, I remove all my endorsements, and that means diddly, dude. It doesn't mean anything anymore.
Nope.
And that's a bad sign for Trump, but to me, a great sign for liberty-minded people and right-wingers across America, because it still always points back to where everyone's like, MAGA's a cult, and this is crazy proof that like 6 influencers who are definitely on the dole are a cult. Everybody else don't care. It just doesn't matter anymore. Matter of fact, there was a tweet this week, and I think it was Clint Russell or somebody was. I have one of his tweets up too, but this week, and I remember it just being like, we're just sick and tired. We want to arrest some, and then someone commented and like quote tweeted it and was like, "Yeah, this isn't very libertarian to want to constantly see this anymore." And then my good friend Dan Smoltz, first comment underneath was, "We don't care anymore." And I was like, "This is it. I don't care anymore. I don't care what excuses
the gloves have been
have.
off. The gloves have been
it's done.
It's done.
It's not. I said this before, but before Trump got reelected, I was like, we're playing a different political game now. And I remember having conversations on Spaces with like staunch DeSantis Republicans being like, no, Trump is okay for now, but this is really about the law. I was like, you guys don't even know what you're talking. You've been wrong every time, and I'm telling you, this is not going to fly anymore. You're not going to get away with politics as usual, and that's exactly what Trump is doing again, but with a little bit more. He's a little bit more chaotic. And I want to get into that, but I threw this in the center because we mentioned this on an episode, and I do want to touch on a little bit because I don't know how new this is. But this is just, again, this is a part of this like system down spiraling. When I say MAGA is down spiraling, I actually just mean All of it. It all just feels like it's all crumbling before your eyes. The J6 pipe bomber, I think Massie was responsible for getting information about this leaked. I think. Did you hear about that? I think it was him that was pushing for it, which wouldn't be a surprise. I could be wrong about that.
You cut out briefly there. What was it?
Oh,
Massie?
so the J6, I think Massie's the reason why we got this new information on the J6 pipe bomber, and then, or at least is known now, because I think a journalist reported and found this person, and then Massie backed him up. Again, Massie coming through. But check this out. This is a post I have. So we have a ton more footage of this pipe bomber. This is one of them. And the post says the J6 pipe bomber suspect seen waving to the Capitol Police while planting bombs. Allegedly, J6 pipe bomber Shawnee Kerhoff was a Capitol Police officer who allegedly received a promotion to the CIA following J6. Now, I was watching Viva and Barnes, and they were talking about how the paper trail for her being part of the CIA goes way early on.
Really?
Not after J6, but actually before. And then more information came out that's all over Twitter now that apparently on J6, she's a part of the Capitol Police. She's the one who first fired into the crowd, getting them riled up. And so there's a lot of stuff on this this one particular person, and it's getting wild, dude. The J6 pipe bomber is a Capitol Police officer. All the information about her is just starting to drop fast, dude. Super fast. But I don't know anybody else who's talking. I don't think mainstream media is talking about this, Democrats or Republicans, Fox or MSNBC.
Well, at first broke by Steve Baker from Blaze, so shout out to him.
Okay, at least you know.
Yeah, that was the reporter, the investigator.
That was it.
Yeah, this was an ongoing story dating back 2 years when everything went down. The biggest threat to democracy since nine. It's all fucking horseshit. But yeah, it's just the reason it's radio silence is because it's exposing the fact that there were all these federal agents involved in orchestrating all the lead up on January 5th, January 4th, January 3rd, all the way until well after the 6th. So of course they're going to bear any kind of, response or any kind of follow up to it. And it's also just, the nature of, the corporate propagandists to not follow up on things that are inconvenient.
Yeah. And I remember every sane person looking at J6, and I understand why people went, but it always seemed like a giant honeypot, or at least in our crew of people. Like libertarians were very clear on like, this looks like a setup.
Oh yeah.
It looks like just that one guy who was trying to plan to kidnap Gretchen Wilmer, and like 12 of his buddies are all FBI informants, and it looks like a honeypot. And so there was, as soon as information about.
They set that poor guy for entrapment. He was just a dope like you and me.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's part of the down spiral. That people are like, none of this is. It's all fake, dude. It's all theater. It's all fake. I can't believe anybody. Trump's been in office for how long? Kash Patel's the head of the FBI, and we're just now finding out about this. The people that like went to the Capitol and marched on the Capitol for Trump, and we're just now getting this by Steve Baker from the Blaze. Like, what is happening? Arrest somebody, for Christ's sakes. I don't even know where this chick is. It's wild. But the problem is, even if they arrest her and put her in jail, that we can't even trust that, dude. We can't even trust that. Check this out. This is a clip from Alex this week. This is where we're at. This is where we're at in America.
The obvious thing is they're going to kill this lady. I mean, I already said it, but the next move is she's dead. I mean,
That's the most obvious path, and that would be really, really telling. And I really don't want that to happen. So lest, anyone think that you and I are sitting here celebrating that. Like, we're just looking at the pragmatic approach. We're going to find out one thing, and this is actually the only thing we're going to find out, Alex, because I don't know the answer to this. We're going to find out what kind of country we are. I think we're going to find out, let's call it in the next 96 hours, we're going to decide where Americans are going to be able to see whether we're a country that says you cannot execute like an Operation Valkyrie against our government and our people and Americans who want to protest. And maybe some people had a riot and they should have probably, gone to jail for property damage for a couple of months or got community service. We're either that kind of country where we're going to destroy the agencies that did this, or we're going to be the kind of agencies that say it was really isolated. It was one person. That person happened to just overdose on pills this weekend. And then that's it.
Dude, I hate to tell you, I think that's it, dude. I think that's it. This person's gonna not Epstein herself, and it's gonna be nothing ever happens.
Well, it's just a matter of how much both teams are in on the play, and I think that's really what it boils down to. Because if it's politically lucrative for Patel to pull up his bootstraps and do this on behalf of Trump to further prosecute this, then I think it's politically expedient. It seems like a home run and only red meat for Trump's base to get some of his approval rating back up. But if he finds that there's more people implicated from the right, then you're going to see kind of this bullshit justice that we've already been served before. So
yeah, but I agree. But at this point in time, it almost seems like Trump doesn't care about red meat for his base. It doesn't seem like anybody in that.
He does for at least the next year to get to the midterms. After the midterms, he could burn the whole thing.
I don't know, man. I don't even what he's doing now doesn't show any signs that he cares about anything as far as midterms or getting people voted in or the American worker. It doesn't seem like he cares at all. I can't you can't give me an instance where it's like, I mean, there's a few where he said this thing and then like a week later he's like, no, we're not going to do that. But
in terms of some of his like promises, his campaign promises, in terms of like cleaning up crime, setting in ICE, doing the deep mass deportations, this feels a little bit more in kind with that, opposed to like some of the like economic promises of like, you know, raising the tariff money and having these stimulus packages sent out, you know, to everybody for on behalf of those cuts, and then lowering the price of groceries and gas, all this shit. I think this feels a little different. It feels like two different tracks, both equally as important, but I think he's really committed to that bit. He certainly has not done as many deportations as he had hoped for and has anticipated and expected, but this feels more in kind with that if he's going to serve justice. But some of this is out of his hands too. I mean, he can wave the wand and let the dogs go after it, but you know,
I think it's a lot of stuff he doesn't know. I can't see. I think faith in Patel is all gone, and rightfully so.
Oh yeah, he's a puppet.
I think Bondi, that was gone. I remember when she got signed in, I was like, yeah, this is every libertarian I know was like, bad idea. And that's only because she was like harsh on red flag laws. And it's funny because you can find these small little anecdotes from their policies back when she was in Florida. Yep. And this little red flag law that she kept talking about, like, and even Trump sat, this is before she was signed in. He was sitting with her and she's like, we're going to confiscate guns. And, you know, people shouldn't have these guns if they're in. He's like, I don't know. We should definitely take their guns. And every libertarian I know was like, no, don't bring her in. And then no one even thought of how bad of a job she would do in the wrong direction. I wish she would have been so bad at her job, people got more guns, but that's not what we got. We got the reverse. And it's been horrific. But that's my point. I think the deportations thing has gone the way it's gone because of Homan. Although he's more in charge of the border. He's in charge of is he in charge of deportations too?
He's in charge of deportations, and she's the Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah. Okay. So I think it's and killing dogs. Yeah, killing dogs right next to the ostriches that seem to run together. She would do really well in Canada. I don't know. I guess it is really apparent whoever runs these particular departments in the administration do get a little bit of a play on it, and that's why it's so depressing with Cash Patel. Because when you see Homan doing his thing, you're like, okay, yeah, somebody's doing something, and it seems like Cash is not doing, and it's making him look awful. So it really shows that it's not Trump. I mean, there's bad. We're about to watch one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life that came out of Trump's mouth. But it does. It's a coordinated effort. Like this is just they're so incompetent. It's got to be malicious. Like I can't wrap my brain around how bad you would be at your job. Especially Bondi.
And I'm not sure who necessarily, like Kyle Seraphin, the former FBI special agent that reported this and brought up the task force. I'm not sure who he answers to, particularly when it goes up the flagpole. You know, who's immediately over his head. But again, we're speculating on the claim that it's about a 94% match with the psychographs that they've run from the camera footage. So
yeah.
I mean, there's certainly a lot more questions about how they're going to put the nail in the coffin in a court of law to make sure that it's identified that it is 100% her. So we're still playing a little bit on speculation island, but I agree with you.
But I mean, again, dude, this everything is connected now. There are no isolated events. The J6 thing looks as now the J6 pipe bomber thing is looking a lot more like Thomas Crooks again, and now Thomas Crooks is starting to look a lot more like this other kid who shot Charlie. Now all of these things, the Epstein's thing, starting to look a lot more like how everything is run over this, and all of everything seems connected. The H1Bs looks like, dude, yeah, Ryan Ralph. Everything is like, we're not getting
great military. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, dude, we're not getting any. None of it makes sense, and no
Gonzalo
one
Lira.
explains it. And that's my point. Is how can anyone watch this J6 thing and even get like, oh, we're gonna get justice? I don't see how. I don't see how you do when you.
Yeah, it's. I think it's two different conversations. I'm so with you in terms of being fully blackpilled on any sort of justice for all, in terms of getting any resolution and any straight answer on these things and closure, especially on a federal national level where there's so many things implicated for downstream effects. I'm with you on that. I think that's a different conversation as to whether they're actually going to pursue it and what they're going to get out of it. But I'm with you.
Yeah, it saddens me because I really had some hope for something to happen. I didn't think Trump was going to clean the swamp. I just didn't. It's the friggin' Star Wars meme. It's like, Anakin, you were my brother. You're supposed to be the chosen one, and not become part of the dark side. I am the chosen one. Yeah, he really is just leaning into this. But here's the reason. So I want to watch this clip, and then I'm going to give you my aspect of what I think Trump's doing. The mentality that I kind of thought he kind of always had, but I was hoping. I'll explain my perspective of why I thought something good might come out of Trump. But
before you run that clip, I just wanted to put a bow tie on this too. I think that more than meets the eye with these cases, these high impact events where it's problem, reaction, solution. It's all controlled at every level from the government level about how the response is entertained. So I just want people to understand that when they see these high impact events and when you see the narrative carefully crafted and curated for you, it's not organic. It was never organic. It is not organic. And there's so much more foul play behind the scenes going on.
Oh, we didn't even mention the what's his face, the Luigi guy.
Oh, like, man, same thing. Patsy.
Yeah, dude, that was an episode of like of TV show I watched. Yeah. Like it was.
What about the Paul Pelosi hammering? Never got.
Oh yeah, that we never got in it.
There's so many.
But it keeps happening, and people are just like, "Yeah, it's
happening.
It's just normal now. This is the new flipping normal, dude." And I refuse. I absolutely refuse to buy it. This is not normal. It just isn't. Oh, it's freaking wild. It gets me all irritated. And again, you said black pill. I really do my hardest to not fall into the black pill camp, but it's
hard, man.
It is hard. So I always tear, like every time I start getting close to just popping black pills, I switch to clown pills and be like, oh, I forgot all of it's fake and it's just a clown show. This is a clown show, and this is for my entertainment. And I guess the more I pay attention, the more maybe I'll be able to survive whatever crap storm is coming down the line. But this is a clip. This came out 2 weeks ago. I think it was just 2 weeks ago, and I had to bookmark it then because it was like, I think I know what we're in for with a Trump presidency now. I think it's becoming very, very clear, and it's not entirely awful, but it does say a lot about where Trump's head is at this go round. So let's take a look at this thing.
There's never going to be a country like what we have right now.
And does that
the
mean
Republicans have to talk about it, Laura.
And does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here?
No, you don't have.
The shot heard across America, dude. The friggin' shot heard across America. And even if you were like, well, no, what he was meaning is we don't have the exact correct. I heard a bunch of people try to spin it this way. And it's like, no, it's too late now. Because the problem, when he says we don't have enough talent, we're all going, dude, your administration is talentless. Like, all of you guys are incompetent. We've watched you fumble over and over again, this fumble included. So who's talentless at this point in time? Because it's not my mechanic, because he fixes my truck all well and inexpensively. He knows what he's doing. You guys seem like you don't know what the hell you're doing at all, and then you're saying that we're the ones who are talentless.
Yeah.
Piss off. And this is what I'm talking about, man. It's wild.
Well, credit to her, the little backbone she has left.
Yeah.
Being on Fox News, she has the most bite for her bark too. But yeah, it's just hilarious because it's like, first of all, public servants are public servants because they have no talent.
Yes.
That's number one. Number two, he's speaking particularly on behalf of big business, which is just to say, hey, we've always needed cheap labor. Sometimes we don't have the specialized skills that we don't necessarily raise here at home, through our schooling system. I could kind of get behind that if it's like less than 0.5% of like the total overall growth of, the workforce and stuff. But he's so blatant and he's too stupid to explain or unpack anything that he's trying to say. And he's also not addressing the bigger issue, is that we're being manipulated by H-1B visa recipients that come here to specifically work in tech in Silicon Valley. There's this particular bubble with that, where the wealth disparity amongst the rest of the country, the flyover states, and then the left coast is so wide, and it has to do a lot with tech. And I think that he kind of missed the ball there to kind of explain or at least address the concerns that people have. It's like, hey, we're flooding these foreigners in specifically to do tech, and tech is the root of a lot of our problems.
Yeah.
Or in terms of industrial change, you're not streamlining people to be ready for those types of jobs the way you would have pulled people off a line into a factory job back in the 30s and the 40s and 50s. So if you don't have that, if you're not addressing the school system for their failures to create a pipeline for tech, then you can't sit there with floor angle and be like, you don't have talent. Okay, you're burying the lead there. Like, why don't we have the talent? Address that,
dude. So we're gonna finish this clip. He doesn't bury the lead. He pulls it out from the bottom of the article and then contradicts it without even blinking an eye. And it's like, okay, now who's the incompetent one here? Right. So let's keep going. I'm pretty sure this is all in the same clip.
Talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles, or I'm going to put
How did we ever do it before?
Well,
I'll
give you an example. In Georgia, they raided because they wanted illegal immigrants out. They had people from South Korea that made batteries all their lives. Making batteries are very complicated. It's not an easy thing and very dangerous. A lot of explosions, a lot of problems. They had like 500 or 600 people, early stages, to make batteries and to teach people how to do it. Well, they wanted them to get out of the country. You're going to need that, Laura. I mean, I know you and I disagree on this. You can't just say a country's coming in, going to invest $10 billion to build a plant, and going to take people off an unemployment line who haven't worked in 5 years, and they're going to start making missiles. It doesn't work that way.
All right, so this isn't exactly, because there's another section I thought maybe it was included, but even in that, like, his whole thing was like, wow, the Americans are unemployed. We need to give more jobs to these people. And just then he's like, no. They need to stay on the unemployment line, even though they've been there for 5, because we got to pull the people in who know how to make batteries. Like, wait, what? Batteries? This is your thing, the highly tech skills. But later on, dude, in this interview, he's backing up colleges. And she's like, no, the colleges are crap. And he's talking about the school system.
That's why we're in this position.
Yeah, he's like, but we're getting a bunch of money from these foreign governments coming in if they send their schools. So we need them to come into schools because we're getting extra money for the colleges. And she's like, I thought you wanted to dismantle them. He's like, no. We want better colleges.
Get rid of the colleges, man. They're the root of the problem.
Want foreigners to work in the factories, and you want colleges to teach the foreigners to work in the factory. You want American colleges to teach foreigners to work American jobs. What in the absolute hell? And these are what?
Crazy.
Dude, and it's hard for, and I'm fairly nuanced, but it's hard for me to wrap my mind, like, who sat him down and told him this? Like, who is that guy? Fire that guy. Like, Jesus, was it Pam Bondi? Was she like, this is bulletproof argument?
Was it
right here? Oh my God. And it's mind blowing. And it's so here, I'll cut to this real quick. So I'm ranting on it now. I think I understand Trump's whole spiel now. Like, I think I've narrowed it down to exactly where we're going. in the next, definitely next year. Trump, everyone on the left was like, Trump just trying to get rich. I don't think Trump's trying to get rich at all. And everyone right-wing argument was like, no, he's doing all this stuff on his own money. He's not trying to get rich. He's definitely trying to make America rich. He's trying to make America whatever it is business-wise, because he's a businessman. And so there's some benefits with that, but there is no ideological benefits whatsoever. So then we go back to the Matt Walsh thing, where he's like, I'm America only, I'm American chauvinist, which is extremely ideological. Trump is not. Trump is GDP needs to go up. We need reserves. We need money. We want the best colleges, the best military, the best ports. I don't care who's in them. I don't care who's in the country. I just want the best of the best of the best for anybody. Unemployment line be damned. Americans be damned. And that's why I think the Miriam Adelson thing, and he's like, she loves Israel, maybe even more than America. Didn't even faze him. Everyone's like, why would you say that out loud? And he's like, what do you mean? She's got a ton of money. It's Israel. They're a great ally to help build us up with whatever we got. It's all about making America big, baby. And you're like, well, what about Americans? He's like, Americans who? This is about America. And you're like, but we are America. It's like, no. The Wall Street, the GDP, the corporations, the thing that makes this thing turn, that's America. And that's where I think we're going in the next year. I don't think it's all bad. I think prices might actually go down for Americans. But to think that Trump sits back and thinks about the welder out in Michigan, I don't think so, man. I don't think so. His eye is on a way bigger prize, and I think it's the empire. Anyway, what are your thoughts?
I somewhat agree. I think the timelines are a little shifted. I think people generally assume correctly, the ones that are too tapped in like we are, and some of the other political commentators, that they kind of know what to expect. It's just a matter of timeline and where that shifts. I expect now that the first year of elections are through with some of these local level ones, now building up to the midterms, that the first half of the year is going to be season of reveal. And it's going to be season of reveal, not just for like Epstein and some of the bigger ones, but like you're going to start having people going after Jerome Powell, and you're going to have people asking for an audit on Fort Knox. That conversation is going to get brought up again. And all these things that are ancillary, that were part of, the to-do laundry list of executive orders when he first came in that he was going to do. People are going to start calling for those things right as we get up into the midterm season. So I expect next year to be a season of reveal. I expect people to be held, not held accountable, but like be held to their word, and with things coming due in that regard. I
hope you're right, man.
You got to have hopium. There's nothing else you can do.
I guess my hope is, here's where my hope is. This is why I'm not completely black-pilled, even on the Trump being all about America as a business. He doesn't so much care about the employees of the business. He just cares about the business being successful. I'm actually not mad about that. That part I'm not mad about. You can't remove all ideological bent to your political movement at all, because then you can just take Pakistan and America, switch spots. If Trump was the president of Pakistan, he would be nothing would change. Not a single thing would change. He would just be, well, we got to make Pakistan the greatest business and beat America. We have to beat America. And that's the difference. If you were to take Trump as president and drop him in any country as that president, right now, be like, Trump is the new president of Switzerland. He'd be like, those Americans are awful and they're bad, and we're going to tariff them. He wouldn't care. America and it's ideological. This is a nation of people who believe in that doesn't matter to him because he's a business guy. And so it's dollars and cents, it's growth, it's expansion, it's better, it's more powerful. That's all he's done all his life. Why wouldn't it be the same? So there's benefits to that, because it does make America stronger. It makes it a little bit, hopefully things that get a little bit easier. The dollar could go up if he fired Jerome Powell. But here's the other news. Doge is done, dude. We're never going to get an audit at the Fed. It ended today. So we're done with Doge. It's completely cut now. No more Doge. All the stuff that we thought we were going to audit.
The department's finally closed?
Finally closed today.
Wow.
Shut down. It was kneecapped in the beginning, and then now it's over with. It's completely shut down. And so we're not going to get an audit of the Fed. That's what I'm saying. Like, our dollar's not going to go up. None of this is going to. But this was the thing I was going to say about ideological. When leaders are ideological tyrants, they will kill you to make you feel better. It's Canada.
Mhm.
Because they're ideologically bent. They think in like a weird eugenics, spiritual, occultist feeling of like, we need our country's people to be happy and diverse and to love each other, damn it. And they'll kill you to make you do that. Whereas in the businessman Trump it's just numbers. And normally there is a nice fall off from being like, if you're the janitor of a Fortune 500 company or a 30 million company, you're still a janitor, but one of them gets paid a lot more. And so there is fall off to that. So there's some benefits to Trump not being an ideologue.
Mhm.
But going back to the Matt Walsh thing, there's too many Americans voted for Trump that care about actual Americans and not about America, the corporation. And I think that's the big divide of this MAGA thing right now. There's MAGA who care about America as the corporation, and then there's the America First, America Only who care about Americans, the dollar be damned. You
Yeah.
know, and that's kind of where I think we're at.
Yeah, I think the split and divide, it's a matter of tactically, like how it gets split is not really the point, but it's showing ideological lines in terms of like who actually stands up for their constituents and who actually stands up for Israel or for Lockheed Martin or for Wall Street, you know.
Yeah, and I think that says a lot about the MTG thing. Now, I don't have any clips of MTG, but she announced she's resigning.
Get a 10-minute letter she wrote. She read. She was just talking, just to give people spark notes at home. She was just talking about how she's piled up the death threats over the years to her family, and she's tired and sick of walking and wants to walk away from it primarily for that reason. She wants to live in peace. She wants to step away, not because she failed her constituents from what I parse from it, but for the sake of her constituents, because she doesn't want to be a lightning rod for all this this trauma and whatnot. Now, from us, 30,000 feet, I think she got the call, but at the same time, I think it's also a perfect time to launch pad for 28 if she's going to be someone's running mate.
Yeah. No, I think it's all of the above. I don't know necessarily. So MTG sparks me as somebody not like. There's a bit of a misogynist in me where I'm like, her family getting death threats feels like it hits really home with her. Whereas, and if it's somebody else, like I hate to say it's like a dude, he'd be like, no, the more times you threaten, like here's where I'm at. The more times you threaten me, the more I push back. And I just assume that's kind of like a Massie figure. Because it seems like the more people poke and push and beat Massie down, he's like, oh no, that means I'm going harder now. And so you're like, bad idea, bro. Should have just not poked that anthill. And so I'm wondering, because MTG kind of felt that way recently, where it's like, oh, she's really in it to win it. But I think the Trump backfiring on her and being like, no, I'm not doing it. She's like, well, what am I don't even have that backing. You know, like who have I? It's just me and Massie now and Rokana. You know, like who's
well,
in my
it only takes one to really get off the ground. I think she was easy to pick off because of the fact that they could primary, they could throw so much money against her, and they tried doing it with Massie as well. But in her absence, I mean, Boebert's still on board. She's still going to be doing that. I think Nancy Mace is still part of that coalition.
I don't trust her.
It's just going to be a further divide of populist versus.
If anything, Nancy Mace is a plant. I think Nancy Mace is a plant.
Well, she very may well be, but you know, broken clocks right twice a day. They could be right on this and not be supported by AIPAC.
Well, I think she could be right on a lot of things, but what I'm saying is when it comes down to actually nuts and bolts, like dropping a vote, I think she'll say she's going to do one thing and then flip a minute later.
Oh, I
see. Just to kind of pull the rug out from underneath people who might have relied on her to do something. I have a gut feeling about her that I don't trust. The same with the Kristi Noem. I don't trust, and I know she's not a part of this, but there's just certain people that when I read them, like when I'm listening to them when they're talking, just some things, I don't know if it's spiritual discernment, it's the Holy Spirit telling me like, no, it's a snake, bro. But I have that, and Nancy Mace I get real weird feelings about. Let's talk about this Massie thing real quick, because we're coming up on the hour thing. I wanted to show this clip. So MTG and Massie are in the world of their own. But it's not the thing that bothered me. Oh, let me bring this up. The thing that bothered me about MTG, because it did seem like, oh, she's lining up to run, is because she went on The View and she was like, I'm just tired of this political divide. Now, to a libertarian anarchist, she is kind of saying a lot of things that we think about, like this right-left thing is stupid. But what she was talking about was like this vicious political. She doesn't like that the fight has gotten fierce, which backs up her arguments of like all the death threats that she has. And then the fact that I think Trump coming out and calling her a traitor upped the death threats. And she was like, no, I'm done. I'm out. And so I do believe that. But we won't know until if she throws her hat in to run. If she throws her hat in to run, the death threat thing was a lie. It was a lie. It was a lie, because that's the you don't go, hey, this is too much pressure, I'm getting too many death threats, and then to come back and be like, I want to be president now. It's like, no, you were lying back then. So that'll be a great tell for MTG in 2 years, is when she comes out as campaigning to run. We can all sit back and go, no, I remember, and you were just setting it up. You're fake. You're fake news. You're fake news. This is another telling. I want to play this clip of Trump, just since we're on this Trump MAGA divide thing. This is just, it's sad to see, but this is just another one of what we got. Oh, let me jump here. Whoops.
Forgive for what?
Oh, let me start over. So this is after the MTG thing.
Are you willing to forgive Congresswoman Taylor Greene? Forgive for what? No, I just disagreed with her philosophy. She started backing perhaps the worst Republican congressman in our history.
Sorry about the audio.
Just stupid person named Massie. And I said, go your own way. And once I left her, she resigned, because she would never have survived a primary. But I think she's a nice person. Okay.
All right. So this is just asinine.
He's such a piece of shit. It's like you go after the best of the purity test in Thomas Massie, the only one that I wouldn't slaughter at the drop of a hat tomorrow.
The only one that doesn't seem like the slaughter at a drop of a hat. Really, the only one that is like from MI. I mean, a lot of them are smart. This guy built his own house by hands. He's not only head smart, he's like no nonsense, street smart. He built his own house out of wood on his land. And then he's like, hey, you know what we need? Solar power and running water. I'll just dig this canal. And all right, so that's just Trump being stupid. But again, it goes back to, this is like a board meeting business play. This is him twisting it up. Yep. And the fact, here's the thing that you definitely know, where he's like, oh, she resigned because she was going to get primaried. Bro, you've been trying to primary Massie every time, and you failed miserably. You suck at this. And so she knows, and I think all of us know that she would have been fine. There's no way. She's such a firebrand. There's no way you were going to.
No way she would have lost. No.
Yeah, and everyone knows, and so we all kind of take this part of Trump in. They're like, yeah, we know he's just talking out his ass again, and that's what this feels like too. Because I guarantee, if anything, some small change could happen, and Trump will literally, like an abusive husband, be like, no, I've loved Massie every day. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, we've been best friends. We're best friends.
Bipolar girlfriend.
Yeah, but again, it's not an ideological thing. If you know his cards, he's a business guy. It's like, this is the thing I want to do, and I'm going to do it. And whoever gets in my way is out. And if they're out, they're either in or they're out. And if they're in, they're in. They're all the way in. He's the smartest man ever. If he's out, he's the dumbest person. And no one takes this crap seriously. Right. And so I'm glad no one does. But again, this is my hopium white pill of all time. No matter what happens in the stupid clown world, fight, MAGA, American First, normal Americans see right through it if they're even paying attention to it. So the plus is no one watches the news anymore. And the people who are watching the news are on social media, and there is a plethora of people out there that are just like, no, I don't buy it anymore. I just don't buy it. And so I stand on those. That's my thing is people who have some form of like no nonsense, nuanced ideas, views are doing phenomenal right now. Dude, Clint Russell's podcast has jumped above Rachel Maddow. Clint Russell is above Rachel Maddow. You're like, what is happening?
She makes $20 million a year, and he's shooting from home.
Yeah, it's just wild. So there is like a weird shift happening behind that they don't want us to see. They don't want you to know that everyone watches this Trump clip and be like, yeah, Trump's stupid. This is dumb. And they don't want you to think that you can think through these things and be like, well, maybe like the Marjorie Taylor Greene. They either want you on her side or they want you against her. You can't be like, well, no, she seems right. It seems weird. If she runs again, then we know she's lying. They don't want you thinking about, hey, these are people with faults. They want you on a side. They want you hard-nosed in a side.
Yep.
And half of that's just a psyop.
And whenever there's economic pressures brewing and there's things that are ready to collapse, they pull the culture war shit out. So
they got to.
That's the year I'm looking for.
That's I think that's coming, but I don't think it's the culture war anymore. I think it's like
it'll be
culture war.
Right.
Well, no, I think it's the culture war mixed in with the religious war, mixed in with the economic war. Like, I think they're going to go with just a hat trick. How do we get them all? And let's maybe throw an avian flu pandemic in there where we start shooting everyone's dogs randomly and then see about this go. Because the economic thing is wild because people want lower prices, but people want lower prices for Americans and they want to stop. Like, the economic thing is not, you can't fund another country until this is fixed. And that's a line that we rarely have ever seen that I can remember. And that's what I'm saying. Yeah. The culture war is now an economic one. Because you could say, like, hey, we want America to be rich. We want the dollar to be sustainable. And people are like, no, not good enough. I want you to stop giving other people other countries money. Not another dime.
Yep.
And that becomes a culture war now because we're like, no, we're about American culture. So economics is now a culture war. And then the Dearborn, Michigan thing, I know a lot of people came out and were like, look, all Muslims aren't like this. I don't care anymore. We're done with that. If it's not like a strictly baseball, apple pie, Thanksgiving America, it's done. We're done. We want liberty. We want guns. We want baseball. We want American flags. We want a 4th of July. And we don't want to give money to foreign governments. And we don't want you to think that we're dumb enough to believe the slop that you're giving us on this weird infighting in the Republican parties and the Democrats coming up and your Don Lemons and your Joe Scarboroughs and your Jesse Waters. We're done. We're all done with it. And it's fantastic. So that's my hopium pill.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful rant. I loved it, and you hit the nail on the head. And I think people are feeling that, and I think there is a coalition to be had with populist people that just want America first, and however they get to that is their own discussion to have. And I think that needs to happen because
I think it's happening.
That's their fear. That's the uniparty's fear, right? Is that they're gonna drop ideological lines for the sake of being America first, but in their own iteration of it. So, okay, left, you want Medicare for all? Well, we're gonna cut off the checks to Ukraine. Oh, the right. Oh, you want whatever your version is you want no more property tax. You don't want no more sales tax or income tax. Okay, we're not sending more checks to Israel then because all that money is going to stay here now.
Yeah, it would be an easy solve, but it's not going to make anybody. Unless they figured out a way, but it's not going to make their politicians money. It just won't. And that's the thing, man. I've been also clued into too many podcasts where people are like, "Hey, check out who's funding all these people. Look at this person, this congressman's balance from here to here." These things are all just constantly becoming mainstream talking points now. We're like, "Hey, how did this person get so rich?" And all of it's slipping through the cracks. Like, and they don't care anymore. They're like, yeah, like it's the Bernie Sanders thing. It's like, yeah, he has 3 houses, and he doesn't care if you know. Because he thinks you're dumb enough just to fall for a shtick still. And so okay, well, fine. Let's see what happens with it. And so I'm hoping they keep pushing I kind of hope Trump keeps doing what he's doing now. I hope the Democrats keep doing what they're doing now and thinking that if they can defeat Trump, they'll win the midterms. What I'm hoping for is both the Republicans and the Democrats lose the midterms. And it's just Massie and American first people just going, oh, no, we're done with this. And I think that's going to happen. But the more you start seeing normal people, Matt Walsh with a giant thing and Clint Russell's podcast rising to the top and all these different voices
on fire.
Yeah, it's just I think as long as this continues to move in this next year, the midterms are going to look wild. If you are a right-leaning libertarian, right now would be a great time for you to run because your message sounds more Republican than the Republicans in there. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I want. That's what I want to see. I want to see more right-wing libertarians running for Republican office. I primary those guys. Get them out of here. And then if we could have not one two Massie, three now we got 14 different Massies. And this is what I want at the end. I want to make America great again. I want it for Americans. Like I want America to be great, not so it can just back up foreign countries and their wars, because that's could be what make America great again. You mean like an empire that just funds everybody else's fighting and just gets rich? Because when you guys get rich, it means the companies get rich, which means maybe the janitor gets a raise. No, this is not going to work anymore. And I'm hoping. I would like to see the Libertarian Party trash the Libertarian Party altogether. Like the Mises Caucus guys go, we're done with that, and just move right into Republican politics and just start pushing.
Well, they already kind of are. They're encroaching, taking their lunch because they're more America first than they are. They're more America second because they have their caveats with Israel and other things too. I mean, other lobbyist things too.
Yeah, it's moving in that direction really quickly, and I'm hoping people wake up. That's what I think is coming the next year. Trump's going to keep doing his business thing, which there might be a few benefits to that. I don't want to trash on Trump because he's unpredictable, and I do kind of like that about him. He does say some wild stuff, like he's going to turn Gaza into like the new Riviera. I found that funny, but only because I was like, oh my God, is he really going to do that? And so I like the wild card aspect of it. And I'm actually not mad at him saying that he wants to primary Massie, because it seems it's almost like its own little psyop. The more he talks about Massie, the more popular Massie gets. And so I'm okay with that. Put
that shining bright light on him.
Yeah, dude.
I
love it. Do you got any closing remarks on this? And then we'll call it quits.
No, this was great. It was great to reconnect, talk about some of these things that have been lingering in the news for a couple of weeks. Some of these stories will be open-ended, so if you're listening and watching at home, definitely like and subscribe and stay on our coattails, because we'll be coming back to this. We actually have a good recall with some of these stories, so we're very excited about that. And just to put a button on it too, I want to make a special announcement. I will be at the Libertarian National Convention, May 21st to 26th, Grand Rapids, Michigan, on behalf of the great state of Connecticut. So
you're a delegate, right?
I am a delegate.
Nice.
So I will be there, and I look forward to hanging out with all my other autists. It's going to be a great week.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
I love it. I will not be at the Libertarian Convention. I will probably be at some form of a game con. Because I got a bunch of those coming up. Matter of fact, PAX, which is like a big gamer convention, happened in Philly this weekend. PAX. Yeah, and I wasn't going to be there because I'm not ready. But the reason why I bring that up is because I created a tabletop RPG, and so my next year is all going to be gaming cons and me handing out, quests and deodorant combined. And it's going to be fantastic. So my whole year is, and that's what I've been doing. That's why I'm a little more busier than now, is because I got a Kickstarter coming up. You fans of Pardon Live will hear plenty about that coming in the future very quickly.
Yes.
Because I will be doing nothing but talking about this thing.
Support great grassroots projects like this. We put all our love and blood, sweat, and tears into these.
And I swear to God, I will not let you down. I do have a game quest in the works that I don't know how I'm going to get around this, but I wrote in Alex Jones as a Victorian journalist. He's trying to save the Queen from being taken over by Russia. So you get to go, and this will be probably towards the end of the later year, and that's if I can get this approved from the king. I happen to know somebody who works in the games for the Jones crew, and so I was like, I bet you I could slip this to them and been like, this might make Alex a little bit of, there's one way to Alex's heart, and that's by buying supplements or knives or t-shirts or keeping his store afloat, so because he's getting canceled every week. So I know if I'm like, hey, you can make a little bit of money off this, he might sign off on it. And you get to break into the royal palace and break Alex Jones out so we can save the Queen from being assassinated by reptilians. Anyway, that's where we're going. This isn't just silliness, it's silliness. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Alex, where you want them to go find you?
AB Raniello on Instagram, and coming soon I will have some great new episodes up on Yards After the Catch podcast on YouTube and Spotify. That's where me and my drinking buddies go to shoot the shit and talk shop on some football. So if you want to release from the Matrix, come check me out there.
Love it, dude. And of course, you can find me at All Pardonable Art. Go to flintlockandfog.com, sign up to be a beta tester newsletter. If you're like, I don't like gaming, screw you. You're going to like this one, especially because I'm going to make it fun. I swear to God, I'll make it fun. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. We won't be back next Sunday, but the Sunday after that.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy it with family. Eat some ostrich, and have a great
Pick fights
time.
with your liberal aunt. Tell her No Kings was a success. I love you.
That's right. Perfect. You guys have a wonderful night. We'll catch you back here later. Bye.